Okay, let's solve LeetCode 15 3-sum, the sequel to the popular question 2-sum. So before you solve this question, the first thing you should do is make sure that you've solved 2-sum, which is the most popular question on LeetCode, so you've probably solved it or at least seen it before. I also recommend solving 2-sum 2, which is basically 2-sum except the input array is sorted. A lot of people skip this question. I think that's what makes 3-sum a little harder because they don't solve this one first. If you solve 2-sum and 2-sum 2, this question 3-sum is pretty straightforward in my opinion. But okay, let's get into the question. So we're given an input array of n integers as per usual. This array though can have duplicates as we can see in the example, right? 2 -1s in this case. Now what we want to do is find 3 numbers of this array. So A, B, and C, and we want them to sum to 0. So in the example, there were 2 elements or 2 triplets that summed to the total 0. Now, one problem is that we cannot have duplicates in our solution. So we're going to have to keep that in the back of our minds. So let's just start the most brute force way. We see that we need 3 numbers, so why not just have a triple loop, right? Just get every single combination of 3 numbers. That's probably the first thing you're going to try, right? So let's say our first number is -3. This is our A. So we're going to try each of these numbers for B, right? This could be a B, this could be a B, this could be a B, this could be a B. This last one can't be a B because we need at least one number to come after it so that it's a C. Now, if we did that with our triple loop, we would find that there is one such combination starting with -3 that will sum to 0. If we take 1 as our B and we take 2 as our C value, because then we'll have -3 plus 1 plus 2, that's obviously 0. So to our solution set, we can say, okay, there's a -3, a 1, and a 2. So now when we move, we can consider this as our first element, right? But eventually we'll see that we go through the entire thing and we don't find anything that can be added to 3 that'll give us a sum of 0. We'll do the same for this one and there isn't anything. Now we get to a -3 again though, because remember there are duplicates in this array. So now we're saying again that we're going to put -3 in this first spot. Now this is a recipe for finding duplicates. This is not good. And we'll see in this example, that's exactly what's going to happen. There's another, we'll take this as our B, we'll take this as our C. Again, we find -3 plus 1 plus 2 sums to 0. So then we're going to add that again to our result set, right? But that's not what we want. We want to eliminate the duplicates. So the problem was we took -3 as our A value, right? And then we search the rest of the array for two numbers, 1 and 2, that add to 0. But then we went back here, right? And we found the -3 again, and we did the exact same thing. The problem is we don't want to have the same number in this position, in the A position, twice, because then if there are the numbers that come after it, we could potentially find duplicates. The solution to this problem is to sort the input array. Let me show you what I mean. So here you can see that the array is now sorted. Let's cross out our top array, which was unsorted. So now we are going to sort the input array. So now when we're looking for all combinations, if we find -3 first, then that's good. Okay, we'll say -3, then we find these two numbers, 1 plus 2, and then we find our solution. Great. Now if we get to -3 again, we'll say, hey, wait a minute. This number was already in this position, right? And we know that because its neighbor, its left neighbor, is the same value. We don't want to put it twice here because if we do, we'll get the same duplicate. So we're going to tell ourselves that we already computed all combinations that start with a -3. So we don't need to do that anymore. We already visited this one. We're going to skip this one, and then we're going to go here. So that means in this case, we're not going to find any more results in the remaining portion of the array because they're all positive. They're never going to sum to 0. So then in our result, we're only going to have the one triplet, -3, 1, and 2. We eliminated duplicates by not reusing the same element twice. I think it helps to understand a little bit about the statistics of like combinations and permutations to like understand exactly why this eliminates duplicates. But I hope this explanation at least helped a little bit. So now that we know to sort the input array and we know how to eliminate duplicates, once we find our first number, notice, right? So let's say we have a -3. So then the remaining part of the problem, there's only two elements, right? So it basically reduces to two-sum. And you probably know how to solve two-sum, right? Obviously, we can put the numbers, let's say that this is our first A, right? So then for the remaining portion, we're basically going to do two-sum. And you can do that with a hash map or a hash set. But if you've solved the problem 2sum 2, you know that we don't need to use a hash map. We can use a left and right pointer. So this is our left and this is our right. And if we find numbers such that left and right added to our -3 sum to 0, then we're going to add them to the solution set. If the sum, though, is too big, for example, if our sum was greater than 0, we want to decrease our sum. Now we can do that by taking our right pointer and shifting it. So our right pointer would be shifted here. Notice how that decreases the sum because the numbers are sorted. So if you've solved 2sum 2 before, you know exactly why this works. And I encourage you to watch that video if you want a deeper explanation. Now, on the other hand, maybe our sum is too small. Our sum is smaller than 0. In that case, we would shift our left pointer. Because the input array is sorted, if we shift our left pointer, we're increasing the sum. Now, there could be duplicates among these left and right values too. For example, if this 1 was a -3 instead, right? In that case, we don't want to reuse the same element twice, even among our left and right values. So we would not use the same, we would shift our pointer once more over here. We don't want to reuse the same value for left and right either, so we don't get any duplicates. Now, in terms of time complexity, remember if you know exactly why this works, and I encourage you to watch that video if you want a deeper explanation. Now, on the other hand, maybe our sum is too small, our sum is smaller than 0. In that case, we would shift our left pointer. Because the input array is sorted, if we shift our left pointer, we're increasing the sum. Now, there could be duplicates among these left and right values too. For example, if this 1 was a -3 instead, right? In that case, we don't want to reuse the same element twice, even among our left and right values. So we would not use the same, we would shift our pointer once more over here. We don't want to reuse the same value for left and right either, so we don't get any duplicates. Now, in terms of time complexity, remember we are sorting the array, which is big O of n log n. And then we are not doing the brute force with triple loops. That would be n cubed. We are using the fact that this input array is sorted to our advantage. We're using n cubed, we are using
add components to a J-layered pane, specify the layered number, or so if you'd like a copy of all this code, J-layered panes in Java. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's your bro here. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, I'm going to teach you guys how we can open a new window using Java Swing. So let's get into it. Before you reach the end of this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so that we together can challenge and defeat the mighty YouTube algorithm. Alright everyone, so we're going to create a new project. So if you're using Eclipse, go to File, New, Java Project, and I'll call this project How to Open a New Window. I know I'm really creative like that. And then click Finish, and we're not going to create a module for this. Now we're going to go to our project, locate the source folder, and we're going to create 3 files. So File, New, Class. I'll call the first one Main, and it's going to hold our main method, so you'll want to be sure to click this checkbox here. Click Finish. Let's go back to our source folder. File, New, Class, and let's call this second file Launch Page. It's going to launch a new window when we click on a button, and then click Finish, and then back to the source folder, File, New, File, New, Class, and we'll call this New Window. This is the window we're trying to open, so New Window, and then click Finish. All right, now within your main class, this is what we're going to type. We're going to create an instance of our launch page. So we're going to type in the name of the class, launch page, and we'll call this launch page with a lowercase l equals new launch page. And that's it for our main method. In fact, our entire main class here. So we're going to do some things on our launch page here. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is to create our constructor. We'll call this launch page so it matches the class name. And then we're going to declare 2 objects within our class, but before the constructor, a JFrame frame equals new J frame. And I'm thinking what we can do for this project is that this page will only contain a button, and when we click on the button, it'll bring us to a new page. So we'll do something simple like that. Then I'm just going to import these things. So javax.swing. And then let's create a J button to put on this frame. So J button, and we'll call this my button equals new J button. And we can set some text on this button right away. We'll just type in new window. And then we'll need to import this. Okay, let's go to our constructor and add a few things. So let's create the frame first. So frame dot set default close operation, and then within the parentheses, J frame dot exit on close. So this will actually stop when we exit out of it. And then we'll need to set a size for this frame. So frame dot set size. I usually pick 420 by 420. And then we need to set a layout, frame dot set layout. And then I usually type in null because I like to manually place everything. And then we need to set the visibility to true. So frame dot set visible true. Okay, let's create our button and add it to our frame. So we'll do that before our frame within our constructor. So that is called my button. That's the name of our button. My button dot set bounds, and we'll place this where x is 100, and then maybe where y is 160. This will be 200 pixels long and 40 pixels for the height. Then this is normally focusable, so we want to set focusable to false. It's not entirely necessary, but sometimes buttons are highlighted and it's kind of annoying. And then we need to add an action listener. So my button dot add action listener. And then within parentheses, just type in this. Now we'll need this class to implement the action listener interface. So right next to your class name, type in implements action listener. And we'll probably need an import. Okay, so we'll need this import as well, and we need to add unimplemented methods. So this is going to be our action performed method when we click on the button, but first we should make sure that everything is here. So let's see if our button is actually on the panel. Oh, nope, not yet, because we need to add the button to the frame because I forgot. So frame dot add my button. Honestly, that's very easy to do, to forget to add something to your frame. Okay, it should be there now. Yeah, we're good. So it currently doesn't do anything. So what we should do is that we're going to create a new instance of our new window class whenever we click on this button. So go to your action performed method. And this is where we're going to type if e.get source parentheses is equal to my button, we're going to trigger an event. So what we'll do is create a new instance of our new window class. So new window, and we'll call this maybe my window equals new window. That's kind of a tongue twister. Maybe I should have named it something different, but hey, it works. Okay, so then when we click on this, it's going to launch an instance of our new window class, but we actually have to work on that class now because it doesn't appear to do anything. So that's pretty much everything for our launch page. There's one more line that we're going to add near the end of this, so we'll be heading back here later. So let's go to our new window class then. So what we're going to do here is create a constructor first. So new window, parentheses, curly braces. And outside of our constructor, we're going to create a JFrame so we can actually see what's going on. So JFrame, and we'll call this frame equals new JFrame. Parentheses, semicolon. And let's create a label that'll just say hello so we can see something. So we'll create a J label. And we'll call this label equals new J label. And let's set some text such as hello. Then we're going to do a few things within our constructor, but we need to import a few things. All right, so within our constructor, we're going to create a frame, and honestly, we can just copy this from our launch page. All right, so within our constructor, we're going to create a frame, and honestly, we can just copy this from our launch page. So frame.set default close operation, we need to set the size, a layout, and the visibility. And I'm just gonna copy all this because I'm lazy and paste it right in here near the end. Let's work on our label. So label.set bounds, we'll place this where x is 0, where y is 0. This will be 100 pixels long and a height of 50 pixels. And let's also set the font, just because it's normally like very small. So label.set font, new font, parentheses. So we don't really care for a font type, but if you want a specific font, you can place that here. I'll just set it to the default and put null here. We'll have this be plain, so font.plain, and a size of 25. And we need to import something as well. There we go. And we need to add the label to the frame. So I'll do that here. Frame.add label. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, let's click on the new window button to launch a new window. All right, we got one. One problem though, if we keep on clicking on this button, we'll keep on getting new windows. So we have like a bunch here. So if you only want there to be one window, this is what you can do. So going button, but first we should make sure that everything's going to be here. As y to add something to doesn't do anything. Yes, whenever we click, and this is what this is, no class. What we'll do is create a new window. That's kind of a tongue twister. Maybe I should have named it something different, but hey, it works. Okay, so then when we click on this, it's going to launch an instance of our new window class, but we actually have to pretty much everything for our launch page. There's one more line that we're going to add near the end of this, so we'll be heading back here later. So let's go to our new window class then. So what we're going to do here is create a constructor first. So new window, if you our launch is lazy. So label.set bounds, we'll place this where x is 0, where y is 0. This will be 100 pixels long and a height of 50 pixels. And let's also set the font, just because it's normally like very small. So label.set font, new font, parentheses. So we don't really care for a font type, but if you want a specific font, you can place that here. I'll just set it to the default and put null here. We'll have this be plain, so font.plain, and a size of 25. and we need to import something as well. There we go. And we need to add the label to the frame. So I'll do that here. Frame.add label. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, let's click on the new window button to launch a new window. All right, we got one. One problem though, if we keep on clicking on this button, we'll keep on getting new windows. So we have like a bunch here. So if you only want there to be one window, this is what you can do. So going back to our launch page, so the first line within our action performed method within our if statement, this is what we're going to type. Frame.dispose, parentheses, semicolon. So it's going to basically close out of our frame. So now if we were to run this and we click on the new window button, it's going to get rid of the launch page and open a new window. So to sum up everything, if you want to open a new window, you'll want to create an instance of the class that contains the window. And we click on the new window button frame. So now if we were to run this and we click on the new window button, it's going to get rid of the launch page and open a new window. So to sum up everything, if you want to open a new window, you'll want to create an instance of the class that contains the window that you want to appear. And then you'll want to hook this up to like some sort of event to trigger it. And in my case, it's a button. So when we click the button here, it's going to perform the action performed method and then create an instance of our new window class then. So there's other ways that you can instantiate a new window of this class or whatever else you want to name this, but you usually need some way to actually trigger this being instantiated. But for this example, we just have this hooked up to a button. But yeah, that's the basics of opening a new window in Java. If you want a copy of all this code, I'll post it in the comments down below. And that's one of a few ways to open a new window in Java. Hey, what's going on everybody? It's your bro here. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, I'm going to teach you guys how we can create dialog boxes in Java. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. If you find this video helpful, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support support will help keep this channel running. Hey, I'm going to teach you guys about JOption pane. This is a pop-up standard dialog box that prompts the user for a value or informs them of something. Before we begin, we'll need this import at the top, javax.swing.joptionpane. There's a few variations of dialog boxes that we can create. Let's begin with a standard message that informs the user of something. So in order to create a dialog box, we need to type in the name of JOptionPane, which is the name of this class, JOptionPane dot, and a simple message is show message dialog. So that's show message dialog, and there's 3 variations of this. They each have different arguments that they accept. So the second one accepts 4 arguments, a parent component, a message, a title, and a message type. For now, we'll just set the parent component to null because we don't have one. A message, this can be any sort of message. So this is what will appear within the dialog box. This is some useless info. You can set a title for this box. I'll just set this to title, and then a message type, and there's a few variations of these. So a plain vanilla message would be JOption, make sure you get the capitalization right, JOptionPane dot plain message. So this is a plain message with no styling whatsoever. And this is what we have. Here's our dialog box. The title is set to title. This is some useless info. Okay, thanks for letting me know. This fourth argument is the message type. So depending on what value we place here, it's going to give our message dialog box a different look and feel. So there's 5 I'm going to show you. This is one of them. I'm just going to copy and paste this 5 times and then give you a demonstration of each. So the first one was a plain message. The second one I'll introduce to you guys is information message. The third is going to be a question message, then a warning message, and then an error message. And then I'll turn these into comments just so that they all don't appear at once. So this is the look and feel for the information message, the second one. So maybe I'll change this to, here is more useless info. All right, so what's different about this one is that there's this icon. And then I'll turn these into comments just so that they all don't appear at once. So this is the look and feel for the information message, the second one. So maybe I'll change this to in this third, and I'll change this is fake. Let's say you could do is stick this within a while loop. While true, basically do this forever. So this isn't going to go away even if we were to click OK or exit out of this. So your computer has a virus, okay? I can't seem to click out of this, so it's just going on forever. So that's one annoying thing you can do. That's a cool trick you can show your friends. So let's go over the last one. That is error message. We can let the user know that something went wrong. So that is this last one. Gonna message. Oh, people, it looks like a stop sign. All right, so those are basic message dialog boxes. We can also have the user respond to something. And we can actually ask for a yes, no, or cancel response. So a different dialog box is show confirm dialog. So J option pane dot show confirm dialog. So it's the same as before. We have a parent component, message, title, and an option type. So for parent component, I'm going to set this to null. Message, we can ask whatever we want. Bro, do you even code? Pick a title. This is my title. And then an option type, so J, option, pane, dot, and we can select what kinds of responses we want available. We can have yes, no, cancel options, just yes, no, or only yes. Let's go with yes, no, cancel. And then we need a semicolon at the end. And this is what we have. Here's our confirmed dialog box. It has our question, bro, do you even code? And there are different buttons you can add to this dialog box. So we added the one with yes, no, and cancel. But currently this doesn't do anything. So let's actually display what this returns using a println statement. So system.out.println, I'm going to take this whole line of code and put this within the println statement. Then I need to get rid of that semicolon. There. All right, so if we were to select yes, this returns 0, no returns 1, cancel returns 2, and then if you click the X button, it returns negative. This returns 0, no returns 1, cancel returns 2, and then if you click the X button, it returns -1. One technique available to you, you could store this within a variable. Let's say int answer equals j option pane dot show confirm dialog. Based on the value that is stored within this variable, you could run this through an if statement or a switch, and depending on the answer or what value is stored within here, you could do one of a few things. So that's how show confirm dialog works. Next, we have show input dialog, where the user can actually type in something. And then I need to get rid of that semicolon. There. All right, so if we were to select yes, this returns 0, no returns 1, cancel returns 2, and then if you click the X button, it returns -1. One technique available to you, you could store this within a variable. Let's say int answer equals j option pane dot show confirm dialog. Based on the value that is stored within this variable, you could run this through an if statement or a switch, and depending on the answer or what value is stored within here, you could do one of a few things. So that's how show confirm dialog works. Next, we have show input dialog, where the user can actually type in something. So to do that, it is j option pane dot show input dialog. And we can simply just put a message within here, like, what is your name? And then we can store the result in a variable, like string name equals j option pane dot show input dialog. And then I'm going to turn this into a comment and run this. So what is your name? My name is Bro. Okay. And then we can like display this or something. So hello plus name. And let's try that again. What is your name? Bro. Okay. Hello, bro. Okay, people, so the last one I have for you guys today is show option dialog. This combines all of them together into one. So that is j option pane dot show option dialog. And there are a ton of arguments within here, but it's okay. We're going to go through these one at a time. So for the parent component, we're going to set this to null. What do we want our message to be? Maybe you are awesome. You can set a title. I'll set this to secret message. You can set an option type. So these are the buttons that you want to add, or the response type for this dialog box. So J option pane dot, you can select whatever you want. I'll just have the standard yes, no, cancel option. Then a message type, that's what we added up here at the top for our message dialog boxes. For now, I'll just set this to perhaps information message. So that is J option pane, information message. We can also add our own icon and our own options for our buttons, but for now, I'll just set these to null, but we'll get into that in just a moment. So null, null, and the initial value is what is initially selected. I'll just set this to 0, and then a semicolon at the end. Okay, let's try this. You are awesome. No, I'll be humbled this time. Okay, so let's actually add our own icon to this. It's going to replace whatever icon we have set for the message type. So I'm going to create an image icon out of this image that I have. It's just called smile.png. So I need to create an image icon. I'll call this icon equals new image icon. I need to set the file path or the file name if it's within the same project folder. So this is smile.png. I'll need an import as well for this. Okay, so I have this image icon just called icon. I'm going to add that to this argument here. It's the third from the last one, so that is icon. And this should override the previous symbol that we have. So now it's using my image in place of the I symbol that we had previously. We can also add our own options for these buttons, but this will take an array of components or reference data types. So let's create an array of strings. So a string, an array of strings. We'll call this responses. What do we want to add to these buttons in place of yes, no, cancel? So maybe for the first option, no, you're awesome. Then for the second option, perhaps, thank you. And for the third option, we'll just maybe blush. All right, so we take this array and we're going to place it in the second to last argument. I think I'm going to add these all on a new line just so we can see everything here, because it's getting very long. All right, we should be good. And this is the value that you initially want to be selected. So if you want the first button selected, set this to 0. If you want the second one, set this to 1. And here is our dialog box. Secret message, you are awesome. no, you're awesome, thank you, or blush. No, you're awesome. All right, so that's the basics of J option pane. If you want a copy of all this code, I'll post all of this in the comments down below. But yeah, that's the basics of J option pane in Java.